Hi. I want to continue the series of reading from my work. And so there's a poem that got some nice response when I posted it. I wrote it a while back, but it feels like it belongs in this time. So I posted it last week on Facebook, and I thought I'd read it to you today. So let me pull it up, and I'll read it. It's called Ode to the End of the World. Oh, how can I write about the end of the world when this year's lavender, lush with so much rain, keeps drawing me from the page out of doors where the garden is bursting, teeming, overflowing, and so green? When the branch of lilac that we cut 6 years ago from the tree behind the house where my daughter balanced equations with her math tutor has become a tiny tree, knee-high, still not quite ready to bloom. When the tomatoes are plumping on the vine and the cucumbers that my sister-in-law delivered with her husband in the back of a truck have flowered. There is so much to live for. The smell of coffee, the micro-burst mist of lemon zest when I slice through the peel, the gift of cream, and this time that has crept back around the stone that my husband placed on top of it. I am not afraid of dying, not afraid of dissolving back to light. It's forgetting that frightens me. Losing my place, dropping this thread that I've been passing over and under these other threads for so long, the book, the marriage, this garden, and the culling of memory for this poem. On the day when the meteor strikes, the tidal wave crashes, and lightning shatters the sky, what will become of memory? The sunlight flickering on the lake, the dragonflies darting, the mossy scent of algae pooling in the cove, the wind rustling the leaves in the afternoon as we lay on the grass or the bed on a white cotton sheet. What of all of these books that I've read and the Sunday Times and driving with my dad to get the bagels and cream cheese and lox? And what of the smell of turpentine, the piano recital playing on WQXR as my mother in her studio in the white cotton shirt that she wore as a smock smeared a canvas with gesso, smoke curling from her cigarette as it balanced on the edge of a red coffee can splattered with yellow paint, and the bottles she dug out of the hill that circled the kitchen on a shelf, arranged in a pattern that only she could read. The world pours through us, lifts us up from the sandy bottom, tumbles us head over heels, boils us in a wave of broken shells. We flicker light through water, wind through the branches of a tree, streams gurgling over brookstone. We are all lakes, mossy bottomed, mysterious, and deep. You really can't hang on to anything, Susie said. She was calling from her family summer house, which had been sold just last week, and she'd driven over there to say goodbye to the house. It's all just pouring through you, she said. She had walked through each room, the curtains her mother had hung still on the windows, the silverware still in the drawers. She came out to the dock and walked over to the lake and lay down across the sun-warmed wood and called me, just as I was writing this poem about the end of the world. It is what it is, she said, but her voice broke when she said it. I know, I agreed, but I didn't know. I don't know. I keep feeling for touchstones, the swing on the oak tree, my sister running out of the house behind me, the chipmunk that I captured every evening in a waxed paper cup. This is what happens at the end of the world. We reach for things that mattered. that matter. The photo album, the feather, the journal, the special sweater. We make piles, sorting our marbles into groups, glassies, cloudies, clears. Later, when it's all over and we're sitting in the silence, stripped bare, washed clean, new again, will we find in our pockets these round and polished stones? Will we remember feeling their smooth surfaces with our fingers? Or will we wonder, what were they for? It all happened so fast. The coming and going, the being and doing, the packing and departing. When my mother sold my childhood home, the moving van arrived before she was ready. There were paintings in the cellar and an old wooden trunk filled to the top with shells that still needed holding and sorting. I wasn't ready either. We sat on the floor counting white stones, the treasure of a lifetime. What will you keep? What will you stuff into your pockets, your purse, the trunk of your car on the day they announce the end? The floorboards of these houses where we walk, these impermanent rooms that seem so sure. Susie said, there in that house, there was always time. Generations of celebration and also not celebration. Whatever happened here, she said, a lot of it was good. My mother would drag me to museums, the Met, the Modern, the Guggenheim, which spiraled round and round. She studied the paintings. I held on to Beth's stroller, dreaming of the cream cheese and jelly sandwich I'd been promised if I was good. The natural history, the dinosaur bones, and the blue whale suspended from the ceiling. I remember counting the rings in a wedge of redwood tree, and at the planetarium, the galaxies spiraling over my head. You can't really hold on to anything. The rain splashing, the smell of bacon, soft boiled egg, salt and pepper, music, the red maple in the backyard that flickers red copper, as the wind rustles the papers on my desk. Anything. The weight of my newborn son in my arms, his tiny hand on my breast, patting me as he fed. The swirl of hair on top of his head, and then his sister, and the moment in the car in the dark on Christmas Eve when my 16-day-old daughter in her stretchy red sleep suit looked deep into my eyes. We are all tumbling, head over heels in a rush of broken shells, beach glass, and blue marbles. Lately, my husband has been leaving me gifts, branches of blossom, dogwood, lilac, and this pink one that has shed every petal onto the pages of the cookbook I left open on the counter. What is it for? This pink yarrow that Katie and I planted last week in the shiny red pot by the door. This stone gray speckled with bird prints which I found on the beach at Cutty Hunk Island 22 years ago. I was pregnant with Katie. Max held my hand. Beth was there, and Katie and Natalie. I remember carrying the stone back to the cottage, packing it into the suitcase between the swimsuits and towels. The rush of the match, the spiral of the flame, the crackle and crash as the log collapses to ash. The song my friends are singing, their faces flickering into and out of focus in the pitch black night. My daughter's friend, Isabel, brings her newborn son, the first baby of the next generation, to sleep beside the fire. Adam, 21, leans over. He touches the baby's cheek and says, he's so real. Over our heads, the moon, fingernail, crescent, pearl. this light that pools beneath the lampshade as I write, the gentle and persistent hum of the inside of my own body, life, and how we cling to it so desperately, knowing as we do that all of it is just beginning and all of it will end.